Gypsy Blanchard is the only documented case of a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy who has killed their perpetrator to get out. The only documented case.
It implies a fair degree of sociopathy.
How deep did the lie go?
We really don't know the true background of this family.
And I actually did think that it'd probably be Gypsy, you know?
Just the way the girl acted. I mean, how can you do something to your mother or lose your mother and just act like that?
It was very performative.
We had just recently gotten into an argument. I guess I hurt her feelings or something.
With my mother. It was a hot and cold relationship. Needless to say, that was a very long argument that lasted a couple weeks. My mother and I had got into an argument, and that led to an argument.
Argument that lasted a couple of weeks. What does that look like?
Yelling, throwing things. It would go into an argument that would last a couple days.
She backed her way into the bathroom. Double-fisted with weaponry, I followed her until I was wedged in the doorway.
Something isn't right. She could sense that.
I think she was afraid of me. I think she hadn't realized baby could be violent. But from here on, Mama and I were speaking different languages.
Don't hurt me. The last word she said to me was, don't hurt me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It would appear that Gypsy Rose Blanchard loved my last video so much that she wanted to be the only person allowed to see it. And unfortunately, that meant that she tried to get it taken down and failed because I was able to get it back up. But obviously, there was something in that video that she was not happy about. So we're going to go ahead and make another video. That's always the answer, isn't it? We're going to get back into more of the records, more of the dirty details, everything that Gypsy Rose Blanchard does not want available, exposed, all of it about her case, what was going on, what Gypsy's life was really like before she decided to murder her mother, Clauddine Blanchard. And we're just going to keep going into it. There's a lot that needs to be gone over, especially when it comes to all of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's Facebooks, her messages, the post. They all say something, and it is definitely not saying what we've been told, at least by the media. So we're going to get into it, but before we do, make sure you like and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with everything I've got coming out on my channel. I also want to give a quick moment to say thank you guys to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. We have officially got up to 8,000 subscribers, so thank you guys for all of it. I appreciate all of you and your support. But let's go ahead and get back into Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Facebook post, all of it, and everything she does not want you to know about. So first, we're going to start off in Gypsy Rose Blanchard's personal profile, not the Demona profile, not the Emma Snow, not the Snow Gypsy. No, this is just the Gypsy Rose Blanchard profile. I know, very confusing, but there was actually a lot in this file itself. When Into the Weeds got this FOIA request, there was a lot of things to go over, but this, for whatever reason, this file itself had like 20,000 pages, but as I was going through them, there's not really like 20,000 pages of information. A lot of it's like repeated multiple times. So from what I've seen in this file so far, it shows more of what Gypsy was personally posting. It seems to be like one of those profiles that seem to last a long enough time, at least spanning a couple years. There's a lot in there. So let's go ahead and get into it. And probably in the next video, I'm going to go through the DGyp profile and everything that was in there. Obviously, we know that was the profile that was shared with Dee and Gypsy, and there's a lot that I want to show, but first I want to get through this one because I'm going to be like referencing these things in the next one, so that way it all makes sense. I've taken notes on all of it and, you know, wrote down every single page that stood out to me, but let's go ahead and get into this Gypsy Rose profile.
Just started a Facebook profile, but she never let me get on Facebook. At this point, my mother had got the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society to gift me a laptop for Christmas. My mom thought that I was looking at the Barbie website, Disney website, these very kid-oriented websites. But one of the first things I did was make a Facebook account behind her back. I started to finally talk to people and express myself and find friends of my own. And I was excited to have this normal life.
So I'm going to be skipping through a lot of these pages. Obviously, if you want to read through all of them, you can, of course. You'll probably see some other like status updates or whatever that you are curious about. You can always drop it down in the comments or whatever. But, you know, something that I did notice while I was going through these is that this girl was not home too much. I mean, like, she was out and about doing a lot of things all the time. This was not something where she was kept at home and hardly ever got any other human interaction. That is beyond false. All of that the media and Gypsy herself has tried to pretend was happening, that she just was so desperate to have a friend or have human interactions, like she had no idea. You know, she had to look up what it's like to be a friend or whatever. All of that nonsense when she's talking about how she was in prison and she wrote a list on how to be a good friend to somebody. Not true. And you'll be able to see as I'm scrolling throughout these records that Gypsy was out doing a lot of stuff. Yeah, she might have been with her mom, but like how else is Gypsy gonna get there? I mean, Gypsy didn't drive, so she was obviously like needing a ride anyway, but she had a lot of things to do. They did a lot of activities. They went to the movies like every other day. They've seen more movies probably than anybody else in the world. And you'll see it as we're going through all of these records over and over and over. Gypsy's like, going to the movies. Like right here, she's talking about going to see X-Men Days of Future Past tonight at 10 o'clock. And it's not even like an early movie. Like if Gypsy's mom was so strict, she would have had her watching movies at like 4 o'clock at night. Not letting her go to midnight premieres. I mean, growing up, I didn't even get to go to movies that late. Like, ever. And what I think is funny is that, like, Gypsy's clearly, like, still the same. She'll post whatever she's feeling in the moment. She's a little bit better, I guess, now about, you know, watching what she's posting or whatever. But back then, she was posting literally every single feeling that she had. So she says, I deeply regret lying to someone and doing something very stupid. Never lie no matter what, which is funny because she's actively lying throughout her relationship with Nicholas. Obviously, this is like probably referencing her lying to Nicholas or whatever happened with Dan, I imagine. I think it's around the same time that she was telling Nicholas about that whole thing when she ran away. But something else that's pretty like common throughout her status updates is bragging on herself, and it's of course, you know, very immature and things like that. I'm not even like talking about that, but just the way that she views herself that I've noticed is like it's so strange. Like she talks so good about herself and so confident and blah 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 and looks down on so many people at the same time, and that's not really the attitude or the way that somebody behaves if they're super abused. I feel like usually those people are very, very insecure and they're just like not willing to speak out on these things, not telling, you know, disabled people that are actually disabled to get over it, you know, and that's one of her updates that she posted online for everybody to see. Like, it's pretty crazy. And I'll show you guys that one here in a little bit, but just getting into this, as you can see, Gypsy says, I'm one of those people who are only brave when they have no other choice but to be brave. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, and that's probably why she had Nicholas Godjohn do all of the hard work when it comes to, like, escaping her mom.
I would tell her to be brave.
Yes.
And you said I wasn't brave, and I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There were many times where you were brave.
I think we don't even realize how brave we are until it's our only choice. Because sometimes you don't choose to be brave. You just kind of have to be.
Do you feel like ultimately your choice took courage?
My choice to have my freedom took courage, but not the actions that should have been taken.
Not the way it was done.
Not the way it was done. Yeah. So that was not courage. Mm. That was desperation. You're
definitely someone who looks forward, aren't you?
I am. I've always been that way.
Even
Look
when
forward,
you were little?
not back.
Yeah.
Even when I was little.
Kept you.
Here you can see, saw Spider-Man 2, it was great. Spoiler alert, Gwen Stacy dies. It's heartbreaking. Another new movie that she saw. But this one was funny, just great. My arch nemesis started working at the mall at JCPenney's, which is more than likely referencing Aaliyah, which we all know she kind of got into it a little bit for whatever reason. And I honestly don't feel like Dee Dee knew a lot about what was going on with Aaliyah and Gypsy. If she knew anything, it was probably just Gypsy telling Dee Dee what was going on. And I have a reason for feeling like that, because as I was going through Dee Dee's messages online, there was a moment when Aaliyah's mom messaged Dee Dee and was talking about some horrible rumors, and Dee Dee's like, I've not heard anything, you know, I've not been out. So, like, it wasn't like Dee Dee was keeping tabs on everything that was going on. And we've even heard Nick say that as well, that Dee Dee kind of was able to, like, she would get distracted a lot. She was easily distracted. She wasn't, like, paying attention, you know, hawk eyes on Gypsy at all times. And even when Gypsy was talking on the Kale Lowry podcast about how she was able to trick her mom and not get caught is literally just by switching tabs, that's honestly funny to me, because if you were raised in a strict home, any quick movement, if your parent walks in and you're moving quick, they're immediately going to get suspicious. So, like, if you're just clicking tabs, that's really not it. Like, she doesn't talk about going on private browsers, deleting history, none of that. Like, no, she just switched a tab and that was good enough for Dee Dee. Like, come on. And something else that I feel like is worth mentioning is if you see this status here where Gypsy's talking about, please keep my friend Samantha in y'all's prayers. She's very sick in the hospital. She has fluid in her lungs and is not getting better. This is something that Gypsy did a lot, whether it's about her, her mother, or anybody else, always posting statuses about, oh, please pray for this, for X, Y, and Z, because she is looking for the attention. And that's what I've realized as I've been reading through all of this. It's beyond clear that Gypsy had Munchausen. Gypsy was obsessed with getting attention, because you can tell that it's her doing it. Even on Dee Dee and Gypsy's shared profile and stuff like that, it was always Gypsy posting all of those updates, because they are identical, posted at the exact same time as the ones that are on Gypsy's private personal profile. They're being posted at the exact same time, and this is supposed to be a profile that Dee Dee has no idea about, but she knows that Gypsy has the password on that other one. She's well aware that they are sharing that one, so Dee Dee wouldn't be uploading these on Gypsy's, secret profile. So the fact that they're both being uploaded on the same profiles at the same time means it could only be the one person, which would be Gypsy. And if you look here on 422, Gypsy posts, today was the start of the Habitat for Humanity's Brush with Kindness. They have started painting my house pink, and Mama made Cajun food for 200 plus volunteers. It's been a busy day and the first of a few busy days. Big day tomorrow, gotta rest up. So she was like super pumped about all of these people coming to the house, painting and doing the effort, because it wasn't painted originally when they first moved in. So it's obviously getting painted a few years later, and they're painting it that pink color that we are all, well aware of. And it's like this thing. They had to apply for it, and they had to have people come and help with it. And Dee Dee's making all this food for him or whatever. But what is funny to me is how ungrateful Gypsy truly was in this moment. Because if we can literally see the timeline of how this was happening. So before that, Gypsy post, yay, Habitat Board approved the lightest shade of pink that they allow. So Tuesday, my house is getting painted. And Nick's like, I'm so happy for you. And she said, so the Habitat for Humanity Board is giving us hell to paint our house the color Mom and I want. We want the house pink. And then Nick says, baby, you mean giving you help? And I'm okay with that, but just know our house on the outside may be multicolored. Gypsy Rose said, no, they hate it. They are against it being pink. Still, dear, help is what they would be giving you if they were to do it. I know, right? But they are being poo heads. And she was obviously excited because they did end up approving it, but that's just kind of the way it goes. I don't know if they were in a homeowners association type of area, but you can't just do whatever you want. And so they were going to bat for Gypsy and Dee Dee to get this house painted that color. And we know that because there was somebody that made a post on the Praying for Dee Dee and Gypsy Facebook. And what it said was very interesting, honestly, because obviously this is after Dee Dee was murdered and Gypsy's still missing. But there was somebody that worked in this volunteer program, the Brush with Kindness, and they said this was Gypsy's dream house. This was her color that she picked, yada, yada, yada. This wasn't Dee Dee's dream. This was Gypsy's. So on the Praying for Dee Dee and Gypsy page, it says, I had the distinct pleasure of meeting these two beautiful souls a couple years ago. After sitting in their living room and hearing the stories of survival from Katrina and their path to Springfield, Gypsy shared a painting of her dream home, and the two of them asked if I could paint their home pink. The painting that Gypsy shared with me of her dream home was nearly identical to their home now, with the exception of the pink house with the white hand railing on the ramp. Their original request was a hot pink color from a Disney collection, which I explained would need to be toned down a bit, but I would do everything I could to make their dream a reality. A couple of months later, we had a volunteer group of more than 200 people working in the neighborhood doing various construction projects, including the painting of their home. Dee Dee and Gypsy cooked jambalaya and cornbread for all 200 volunteers. Their genuine love for one another, a zest for life, and resounding thankfulness will never be forgotten, as they made an everlasting impression on me. I pray they both find the peace they so selflessly shared with all the persons that they had the good fortune of meeting, these most precious souls. So, like, if that doesn't show you how ungrateful that she was, she just so happened to, like, bring out this painting that showed her dream home, and they were gonna work as hard as they could. They want this Disney collection princess pink house or whatever, and they're saying, we're gonna do what we can to get you this home. And she is literally trash talking them on Facebook, knowing that they're gonna be coming and doing all of this work for free. It's ungrateful, it's selfish, and literally Nick is like, no, you mean help, they're gonna be helping you. And she's like, no, they're being jerk, they're giving us hell. He's like, no, but it would still be help. And I feel like it's possible that because in between those Facebook posts, Gypsy was like, I hope today Mom and I make up because I can't take the stress of this yelling and arguing. And then Nick said, dear, she will forgive you in time. Just be patient as you have become over time since you met me. Yes, thank you for your words of encouragement, baby. Well, I'm always trying to be there for you, as you know, my queen. It's appreciated. So I can't help but wonder if maybe Gypsy was throwing a fit about the house or just running her mouth, and Dee Dee's like, you know, maybe you should act a little bit more grateful that they're going to be doing this for us for free. You know, like, that's a lot of people to come and work on your house, not only once when they got the Habitat for Humanity house, but to come back years later just to paint it the color that you want. And she's ungrateful for it. Yeah, we're supposed to believe that this is the girl that had no human interaction, had no friends, didn't get to do anything, locked inside a house that was blacked out and blah, 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 and tortured. Right.
Up everything she built.
Did you understand that you being sick was necessary to keep up what she built? Because you got a house from Habitat for Humanity, you got donations, you got different things from people for being sick.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a source of income for her, right?
It was, yes. And I had no idea that I was a part of that.
You didn't know that you were a cash cow?
No.
We really don't know the true background of this family, as we have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme.
The family got medical airlifts, Disney travel, and free housing over the years because of Gypsy's supposed disabilities.
It was a facade that translated online. Donations pouring in for Gypsy's reported muscular dystrophy and leukemia.
And Gypsy's posting here that she has a cold, sad face, and this is something you'll see literally throughout almost every other status. It's like Gypsy's like, I have a cold, I have the flu, blah, 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 blah. I don't feel good, I have a headache, blah, 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 blah. Wanting attention, and at the same time, these are being posted on the Dee Dee and Gyp shared profile as well, so clearly these are Gypsy as well. Always focusing on being sick, always wanting people to comment and be like, oh, I hope you feel better, blah, 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 blah. But this one I found a little bit, funny, I guess I could say, or weird. She said, I stayed up all night to watch and dance naked under the blood moon, LOL. And then Nick said, Damona, let me guess, you were the one who posted this. Which, if you look at Gypsy and Dee Dee's, like, Twitter account and stuff, like, they were posting pictures of the blood moon. So I don't know if she really did this or not, but clearly I mean, I don't know why Dee Dee would be out there watching Gypsy dance naked under the moon. So she would have to be outside to be dancing under the moon, right? And again, Gypsy updating about her medical issues and things that are going on. She says, so I guess the next group of doctor's appointments will be in late May. Until then, I don't have to go to Kansas City for a while. And this is 3/25/2014. So, you know, I don't even think she was going at that time, like at all. Because we know from her medical records that she got her chromosome whatever, like her diagnosis for her chromosome microdeletion in 2013, and they weren't going to need to see her for 6 more months. So that would have been even before this period of time, and Gypsy was not going back. They were no-showing all of those appointments. They weren't even going to any of those appointments at all. But yet Gypsy's the one that's like uploading about it and updating people, even though this is her private profile and she knew she wasn't sick. Gypsy would post curled up in the fetal position, crying and sobbing. I won't be online tonight. I'm watching the Oscars awards with my mom, heart. And really the only thing that she posts negatively about her mom that I've noticed throughout this is just like, oh, I wish we weren't arguing. I hope we make up soon. Like nothing really serious or like concerning for anybody that's just reading it from the outside. She says, Mom and I had an argument, but we made up, happy face. These are all normal arguments and things like that. It's not anything like I've got to get out of here. I don't know how much longer I can take this. No one understands me. Nothing like that is happening that would indicate that Gypsy's being abused. And again, this is her private profile. She's not revealing anything like that about her mother whatsoever. Just like, oh man, me and Mom kind of had an argument, but we made up. Going to the movies with Mom, going shopping with Mom, all of these things with Mom that are happy activities. Nothing is being posted on here, and this is the place where she's supposed to be free to express herself, where she's able to, even on the other profiles where she's posting herself naked, but she doesn't feel safe enough to post anything about needing help or needing to get out or, you know, being abused and hit or locked in a shed. None of that. And Gypsy posts, she had an allergic reaction today, went to the ER, I'm back home now doing better, which, you know, there's no way for us to really check that. I don't know if there's any records or anything like that is out there that shows every single hospital visit or emergency room visit that she went to, but it's definitely not in the other medical files. And again, Gypsy's the one that's always posting about these ER visits, and we don't even know if she actually even went, but here, just like a few days prior to that, she said, had to go to the ER today, was running a temp of 101. Doc said it's a virus and gave me meds to help. Update, my fever broke and now I'm resting in bed. And if you look at this, it's like 11/30/2013 at 6:42. Just literally a few hours later, she's like feeling a bit better. You know, she's like given the play-by-play of everything that's going on with her medically, but yet we're supposed to believe that it was always Dee Dee after the attention. And again, just saying, these were all also posted to the DGyp profile. So it wasn't Dee Dee posting these. It was Gypsy. It was Gypsy seeking the attention. It was Gypsy giving the play-by-play of everything that was going on with her medically, whether true or false. And I'll show you exactly where Gypsy lies about things like that because, you know, and just for the record, there is no medical anything that matches on the 11/30/2013 thing either. There's nothing that shows she was at the doctor at all. Because Gypsy here says, I'm high on pixie sticks. Ha ha ha, you know, like tweaking out basically because she's had a lot of sugar. But you know what's funny is she literally then posts that she's allergic to sugar like a week or so before that. So these are like going in reverse order. So she posted this on 11/12/2013. But if we go back and, I mean, not even looking at where she says I'm allergic to my emotions, my cheeks get red when I have high emotions, which is, again, that's just showing you that Gypsy is the one that thinks she's got all these allergies, not Dee Dee. You know, it's not Dee Dee convincing her that this is going on. She would not tell Gypsy that she's allergic to her emotions, but it's funny that Gypsy immediately thinks it's an allergy. You know, and typically I would think it's like a joke, but no, with Gypsy and the way that she is, she's probably really serious that she's got some kind of allergy to her emotions. Because if we look at what she posted on Halloween, just, you know, again, a few weeks before that Pixie Sticks post, she posted on here that, Happy Halloween, everyone eat some candy for me. because I'm allergic to candy, LOL. But it's because she doesn't realize that, I don't know, pixie sticks are considered candy. I don't know why she would post that, but she's the one that's making up this sugar allergy. She's the one that forgets her own lies because she wants attention. So it's Halloween and she's going to have to miss out, and she wants the attention for that.
All I've dug up is mom reported tooth pain. Always, her word was gospel. I see the records from the food allergist, noting how my mother was thorough and caring enough to bring in the food labels of ingredients and foods I supposedly had allergic reactions to. A donut, an oatmeal cookie, a chocolate chip cookie, a Dove bar. My mother is on record saying that when I was fed rice products, oats, apples, or corn, I'd have a reaction. She has avoided milk, soy, and egg in the past, the records say. And of course, she insisted I was allergic to sugar, even though she said I could eat some fruits, which have sugar naturally in them. It's such a dumb claim. Still, it took years for a red flag to be waved and DFS called, to no avail.
And here's a perfect example of the abuse that Gypsy was suffering. Something that's different about me, I don't know how or why, but I've always felt like I don't belong. I don't fit in with the popular group. And yet here I sit asking myself, what is popular? Clothes? I shop at Dillard's and Macy's. Hairstyle? Well, that's what a hairbrush is for. Boyfriend? I'm going steady with the most romantic guy ever, who adores me and I him. It's a perfect match kind of thing. Money? Well, I have enough to pay the bills, and still have a little bit extra to save for things I want. Friends? I have so many it's hard to keep count of them. Career? Famous painter. So yes, there's a lot that makes me popular in my own way, but what makes me me is my heart. I try and give and help bring peace to the world one person at a time. I am popular. This is the same girl that, Mike Stanfield said that she had no human interaction whatsoever. She has so many friends that she can't even keep count of them. She can get so much money she can pay the bills and still have some left over. By stealing from her mom. She shops at Dillard's and Macy's, these name brand stores. It's all true. She could literally do all of these things. She does have friends, but it's very different than the story that she would tell after the murder of her mother. That's a completely different story. And it's funny that they don't show these uploads, status updates, whatever, because that doesn't really fit in with the narrative that we've been given, right? Again, more attention-seeking behavior, more, wanting praise. Gypsy says, may I have your attention? I just wanted to say that some people might not understand or want me and Nicholas Godjohn to be together, and for whatever the reason may be, whether I am seen as unworthy or not the right girl in some people's eyes, I am more than meets the eye. I'm a public speaker for different charities. I'm a volunteer. I have fed the homeless and raised roughly $500,000 for cancer research on fundraisers and speeches alone. I'm a good Christian girl from a loving home with a wonderful mother, and I have a big heart, and I have given my heart to Nick, and I'm madly in love with him and adore him. He has become such a blessing and gift in my life, and I want people to accept me and us as a couple. We are a good match for each other, and I only want people to see our love, not how far apart we live or the things that don't matter, because in the end, love always finds a way. Thank you for reading, Gypsy Rose. Nick says, yeah, we both are the ones to understand that, honey. Love you. Oh, love always finds a way. True, sweetie, it does. And that is what our relationship has always been about. The love we have for each other, always finding a way to get us closer. And when it is an easy time, but even closer when we are in hard times, my love. So basically, Gypsy's giving all of the reasons why she's amazing. She's the perfect person for Nicholas. And anybody that doubts her can basically go, F themselves. But again, amazing, wonderful mother. She is, successful. She's raised $500,000 for cancer research. Did she? Probably not. Yet this is the girl that orchestrated the murder of her mother. Where's the status where it's like, I know I may not be perfect. I might have a lot of problems. I come from a rough home. I'm not where I want to be in life, yada, yada, yada. Instead, she's like, my life is perfect. And in fact, it's way better than yours because I've done way more things than you have. That's the truth. That's the real Gypsy right here. Very conceited, very self-serving. You know, she's showing you who she is and why she's the best. But that doesn't really fit the whole medically sick and medically abused child story, does it? No. And Gypsy post here, I hate diabetes. It is so hard watching my mother get weaker and weaker. You know, she's getting weaker and weaker and weaker, but she had to kill her. That's the truth of it. Gypsy says, I have a good life. Some say with a disability you can't have a full and happy life, but I'm proof that you can. I have a good mother who loves me and is, well, a little overprotective, but hey, in a world as dangerous as this one, being that way is not always so bad. I have a wonderful man, my Nicholas, who gives me hope and strength and support, and whose love is that of a fairy tale Prince Charming. And he just makes my life worth living. I'd be truly lost without him. I have a cat that is more faithful than any dog, lol, and friends that I'm happy to just be around and feel happy living life to the fullest. Again, another post on how good her mother is, how good her life is, how happy she is. You know, nothing negative about her mom, no evidence or signs or anything, red flags pointing towards abuse. Literally not a single inkling that anything was going on that would warrant Gypsy killing her mother. I don't really know how many people, or like, you know, if I consider her a kid, like she wants to pretend to be, would be abused by their parent and be like, I love them, I love them, I love them, they're amazing, the best mom in the world. Yeah. And it's her profile. She always likes to try to pretend that this was her mom impersonating her. But these are all profiles that are hers. Her mom's not going to be posting on there that she's bisexual. Clearly that's Gypsy posting that. So where is it? That's why Gypsy said she didn't even know she was being abused. She didn't even have a single clue that she was being abused. And if she did not know she was being abused, then why murder her mom? Plain and simple. There's no reason to. And this one is, you know, kind of interesting because it shows how Gypsy is. The batches tonight, if that dude takes off his shirt one more time, or so what, he has abs, big freaking whoop, I think he's more in love with himself than the women, lol. And the girl with one arm, we got it. She has one arm. Get over your disability, woman. Everybody has something wrong with them. And it's kind of funny because Gypsy's literally talking about a girl or a woman with an actual disability, as she's literally somebody that's pretending and cosplaying as a girl with a disability, telling her to get over it. Get over the fact that she has a real disability because everybody has issues. That's actually pretty sick. And she knew she was faking the entire time. She knew she was not needing the wheelchair. She knew she could walk. And she's telling disabled people to get over it. That's pretty bold.
How would you describe your mom?
Unique. I mean, I used to always think that maybe she's a little overprotective. And so if I had to say one word about her, it would be overprotective. I knew that I was different, or my life was different from other kids, but people thought of us as, you know, the sweetest mother-daughter family ever. The best two people in the world.
So that's where we're going to be stopping today in this video. I'm going to be making a part 2 going over the rest of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's Facebook and her status updates. But I want to know what you think of it so far. What do you think about the way that Gypsy was uploading? Do you get the feeling that this is coming from somebody that was severely abused or, you know, trapped and isolated like Gypsy claimed that she was? I want to know your thoughts, so drop them down below in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button. Feel free to hyper share this video as well. I also want to give a couple of shout outs to those of you that gifted me with a super thanks on my recent video. I may be saying your username wrong, so forgive me if I do. Michelle Lee Oz, Phaedra 1980, and VNell951, and also Lady Justice. I did see that you left me one as well on the other video before it got taken down. So if I missed anybody, I am sorry, but I am so very grateful and I thank you guys for all of it. I appreciate everything you guys do to support me and my channel, but I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.